Taiwan's cabinet promises to ease the rules surrounding police gun use. That's after the killing of 2 officers in Tainan. A further 7 human trafficking victims arrive back in Taiwan, but countless more remain trapped abroad. Why a looming referendum on lowering the voting age is heading for failure. And Taiwan's microplastic nightmare. Researchers call for an end to single-use plastic bags after a disturbing discovery in the wild. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. The killing of 2 police officers in the southern city of Tainan on Monday has ignited debate about protecting the country's law enforcement. As Bing Wang reports, police safety is now being discussed in Taiwan's legislature.
A moment of silence for 2 fallen police officers in the southern city of Tainan. The officers died after being stabbed multiple times while on the line of duty. They were chasing a man suspected of escaping from prison and stealing a vehicle. The suspect was arrested less than 24 hours later, some 250 kilometers north of the crime scene. President Tsai Ing-wen and Premier Susan Tsang personally offered condolences to the fallen officers' families. At the funeral, Premier Su called on Taiwan's lawmakers to protect the police force.
警察同仁所需要的相关法律的修正、相关工具的给予，以及执法的压力的减轻、解除等等，我们都做各方面的全盘检讨。
Following Su's words, legislators will debate on the use of police firearms, prison security, and increasing the budget for law enforcement. Currently, police that use of firearms could face criminal and civil charges. Lawmakers are looking to change that law.
过往在警察用枪的实际上面，难免会有一些警察担心后面的这个责任，所以现在条文写得很清楚，就是依国家赔偿法的程序来处理。
Over the last 5 years, there have only been 7 police homicides, and around 2,000 officers were injured in the line of duty. Lawmakers say they will push to change the rules around police gun use, in the hopes this will help keep the people of Taiwan safe. Michelin and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
7 more Taiwanese human trafficking victims are safely home from Cambodia. They're among the reportedly hundreds of Taiwanese who have been lured abroad by scammers promising high-paying jobs. Victims say they were imprisoned, tortured, and even threatened with organ harvesting. 4 of the rescued individuals are indigenous Taiwanese who were freed with help from lawmaker Wu Lihua. Wu helped organize ransom payments of more than $5,000 for each release, saying that some of the victims' mothers were in distress.
因为母亲是非常的紧张，因为可能在跟孩子视讯或者联系的过程中，有的孩子是哭着希望，就是家里人能够赶快的救他们回去。在这个整个汇款的过程中，其实不是一般家长容易做到的。
A new poll shows that a November referendum on lowering Taiwan's voting age from 20 would fail if it were held now. The referendum's backers say many people don't even know the issue is set to be decided in November. John Van Trieste reports.
In Taiwan, 18 and 19-year-olds are adults in every way except one. They cannot vote. A referendum in November could change that. Supporters say it's only fair.
18、19岁的国人，现在不管是在民法还是在刑法，已经被视为成人。18岁的男生还要当兵 ，OK？ 这一群人现在有公民的义务，可是没有公民的权利。
But a poll commissioned by supporters of the move shows that if the referendum were held this month, it wouldn't pass. Only 39.5% of respondents said they support the measure and intend to cast a ballot. But the threshold for passing is at 50% of all eligible voters. The poll also found that many people, 53%, don't even know the referendum is scheduled for November, coinciding with midterm elections.
就没有特别注意。
应该可以在一些广告上宣传吧，就是因为其实附近的人也都没有提起来，就是可能都不知道。
The referendum's backers say that as the vote approaches, parties in favor need to do more to raise awareness and build support.
接下来3个月，当每一个候选人都在地方不断的拜票的时候，把握这个机会，跟我们的支持者沟通，说服我们的支持者，说服社会大众。10月26，我们一起不分年龄的投下这一票。
If the referendum passes, hundreds of thousands of young adults could cast their ballots for the first time in the next presidential election in 2024. Those advocating for lowering the voting age have less than 100 days to make it happen. Klein Wang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Foodies in southern Taiwan have something to celebrate. For the first time, the Michelin Guide for Good Quality Food has included eateries in Tainan and Kaohsiung in its BIB Gourmand list. This year's list recommends a total of 141 restaurants across Taiwan, featuring local Chinese and Vietnamese cuisine. Dozens of new restaurants are featured in the list, which provides a guide to high-quality food at moderate prices. The full Michelin Guide that includes fine dining in the country will be published in a week. Michelin started issuing guides for Taiwan in 2018. A research group in Taiwan is urging people to avoid single-use plastics after finding microplastics in the fecal matter of several wild animals. Samples taken from a variety of habitats reveal that over 1,000 particles of microplastics were found all over Taiwan. Jaime Ocon has this story.
These researchers from Greenpeace Taiwan have made a shocking discovery. The water in Taiwan's forests and even fecal matter from several animals here contain traces of microplastics.
整个塑胶对于台湾陆域的生态系影响其实是很严重的。那我们真的就是有必要从源头有一些政策的推进，包括是减速。
Microplastics are bits of plastic only a few millimeters long that come from larger objects like cups and bottles that are not discarded properly. Animals can easily ingest these microplastics, which then pose a threat to the animal's health.
黄喉貂会去吃人类丢在野外的一些厨余跟垃圾，它因为会在食物链的顶端上层吼，所以它透过这种食物链的累积，可能它有比较高的机会，去吃到这些塑胶的成分哈。
Taiwan is already taking steps to cut single-use plastics, with restaurants across the country already using a small discount for customers who bring their own cups. But with the discovery of microplastics in remote places like the forest, environmentalists fear such government initiatives won't be enough. Damon Lin and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
Scientists in Taiwan have harnessed the properties of spider webs to create a biosensor they say could have several medical uses. A team at National Yangming Jiao Tong University used the fibre optic qualities of spider silk to measure changes in a liquid, including sugar levels. The researchers say the discovery could mean a quicker, cheaper and less intrusive way to measure glucose levels in people with diabetes.
它的导光的效果是非常的好。那我们去分析这个光谱的变化呢，我们就可以知道这个血糖目前的情况，比如说浓度，或者是它的比例是多少。
And coming up, from clinic to coffee farm, we take a look at how a doctor in eastern Taiwan helped revive his village.
According to CNN, of a survey of done of 40 of the foods that you need to eat in Taiwan, roe fine or braised pork rice is at the very top. This is the #1 thing. $15 US. 16 US dollars. 18 US dollars.
Wait, what? Huh? Wait, did we get the wrong card?
No, don't waste your money. Just go and eat what local people do.
Jason's Table Shocked and Surprised is now available on TaiwanPlus.
卷。
好，打开。A beautiful yellowfin tuna， 我放下来太重了。没吃过猪肉，才看到猪脚路啊。Very nice。OK， 好。
What makes this island nation exceptionally punch way above its might? It's the fascinating human stories we heard, plus the greatest movies we saw. The enduring and painstaking past we learned, plus the beautiful people we met. The delightful cuisines we tasted, plus the coexistence of many cultures we embraced. The powerful, energizing technology we invented, plus the ancient masterpieces we preserved. The human rights we advanced, plus the motherland we called home. TaiwanPlus. We will continue to show you unheard, compelling stories that touch our hearts. Come with us as we embark on yet another unraveling journey to the world.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. In China, the worst drought and heat wave in decades is putting an already beleaguered economy under more stress. Power suspension orders are still in effect across the southwest of the country, obstructing the operations of major factories, including Taiwan's Foxconn. James Chater reports.
This is what's left of Boyang Lake in China's eastern Jiangxi province. It's the country's largest freshwater lake, but a fierce heatwave hitting China has caused its waters to recede. This is Boyang Lake in April and in August. China is experiencing its worst drought and heatwave in decades, with temperatures across the south now regularly above 40 degrees Celsius. That's nearly 10 degrees hotter than the average high at this time of year. This week, Shanghai's normally iridescent skyline was blackened as city authorities attempt to conserve low energy supplies. And in the southwestern Sichuan province, home to factories of Taiwan's manufacturing giant Foxconn, a suspension of operation order on industrial plants remains in effect. TaiwanPlus reached out to Foxconn for comment on how the order is impacting their operations, but has not yet received a response. But with rivers running dry, there are fears too the heat could affect harvests, and that's sowing concerns over the drought's longer-term impact.
对农业生产带来了严重影响。长江中下游地区，一直到抽穗杨花、晚稻返青分蘖和棉花开花结龄无灌溉条件的地区，可能会出现减产或绝收现象。
China is already embattled by COVID-0 lockdowns and a property crisis, but with no sign of the heat letting up, cracks in China's economy look set to deepen. Asnaya Zhou and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
The United Nations nuclear watchdog is expected to visit a Russian-occupied nuclear power plant in Ukraine within days. That's if talks to gain access are successful. Russia's UN ambassador told the UN Security Council that his country is expecting the visit to take place in the very near future. The Zaporizhzhia plant is Europe's largest and has been under the control of Russian forces since February. But both Russia and Ukraine accuse each other of firing on the plant, which has raised fears of a nuclear disaster. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak is starting a 12-year prison sentence after losing a final appeal against his corruption conviction. The 69-year-old's charges relate to a multi-billion-dollar scandal involving the state-owned wealth fund known as 1MDB. In July 2020, Najib was found guilty of illegally receiving millions of dollars from the fund set up to promote development. Investigators say billions more were siphoned and pocketed by well-connected business people and politicians. Twitter's former head of security says the company has misled users and regulators about major security gaps. In a complaint filed with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, Peter Zatko alleged that the social media giant suffers from serious vulnerabilities. He alleges these threaten not only users' personal information, but also national security and even the foundations of democracy. Zatko has also claimed that Twitter underestimates how many fake and spam accounts are on its platform. He says it makes the social media giant vulnerable to foreign spies, hacking and disinformation campaigns. Dai Fengqiu is a surgeon from an indigenous village in the mountains of Hualien in eastern Taiwan. But he has always wanted to return to his hometown, not only as a doctor, but to help contribute to its economy. Here is his story.
Dai Fengqiu plants coffee in the central mountain range in Hualien. Many tedious steps need to be taken before the harvest of coffee beans. He seems very familiar with farming, but he has actually been afraid of doing this since his childhood. He studied hard and got into medical school. He then became a surgeon and left the farming life he was most afraid of. He went to many places, including remote islands, to treat patients. But in the end, he couldn't let go of his hometown.
当你跟他讲说你是崇光的时候，就有一份责任在，压力在，好像我们就应该要做一些成绩出来的感觉。
Pressure is also a calling. Dai always wanted to give back to his hometown. He realized how to do so by reviving the economic conditions of the village during a medical trip to a remote island.
每次去都是这样，就是那个高铁站都是咖啡香，胜过其他的味道，所以我觉得咖啡应该有那个市场。
He went back to the village with his coffee dream 8 years ago, opening a small clinic down the mountain and started planting coffee on weekends in his hometown.
我第1年我就种了1万棵，我想要大量种，大量的意思就是我不求结果，但是我需要人家帮我管理。这个是妈妈种的那个莲雾，刚好它下来都是氮肥料刚好，所以我们的那个他们说我们的咖啡豆有那个这个味道。礼拜6下午我就会下来。这个地方很容易打理，因为这个地方平平的，才3分多地，所以这个地方大概都是我自己用。种砍这些树中间这些树我种。
It was hard to accomplish the Save Coffee Trees project all by himself. Dai used all means finding people to help him farm.
我会跟你一起砍好，我表哥都是亲戚，所以应该要整合真的还不错，还可以整合，只要他们愿意。
With eco-friendly natural farming, it makes it harder as weeds grow faster and taller than the coffee trees.
重点就是填饱肚子，要吃饭了。像我这样的想法几乎是没有几个了。在家里就是找几个好朋友就喝酒，喝酒会害死自己啊，倒不如在山上空气好。
Fortunately, some young people like his cousin are willing to take it seriously. He worked hard for 3 years and finally had a harvest the 4th year.
咖啡是一个大家的工作，一个人做不来，所以我就希望种咖啡，然后善用我们的土地，然后大家有功劳。
But baking beans and selling them is also a challenge. When Dai is busy curing patients, his wife takes care of the rest for him. She helps at the clinic and uses her free time to help with the coffee business. The working hours are long at the clinic, and it costs a fortune to run the coffee business. Even with all the troubles, she can only push forward and continue supporting her husband's dream. Dai's strictness often makes her angry. One impatient, the other laid back, they often argue while roasting beans.
你们烘那么慢，烘了一整个早上，你到底在烘什么？
真的很慢。
你看吧，我就说吧，啊，那时候下着雨去山上采豆的时候，满手都是黑色的，就想说这真的是欠他很多钱，要么就是真爱。后来思考一下，应该是欠他非常多钱。
Although Zheng Jiaru jokes about this, she takes coffee courses to help her husband, diligently learning bean roasting techniques.
看不下去，明明就已经冒烟，都感觉那个豆子都快黑掉，他还不赶快出炉，这样子就会忍不住。
重培有牛奶味，
再加上他有老王的个性。
But Dai isn't just bragging. He takes care of the land and concentrates on studying coffee culture and bean roasting. It has all paid off here.
其实咖啡是水果，所以它应该要带有一点水果的酸味。我觉得它给我的感觉是，一直有龙眼的龙眼干的那个甜味，跟吃起来也有那个味道。
阿拉比卡最大宗的叫铁比卡，比较古老的阿拉比卡种。
They may not be coffee masters, but they want to do it right and learn from their mistakes.
我就会强迫他喝一些不一样的豆子，然后请他去感受一下，然后在我烘我们家自己的豆子，然后再请他喝，这样，那他就会讲他的感受。
They didn't think the fruity-flavored coffee could win them a gold medal at Hualien's coffee evaluation competition, making many jaws drop.
这个金牌豆是没有后置的，就拿来脱皮泡一泡，然后拿出去晒，就拿去比了。我们的后置其实没有做得很好，我觉得我们的是因为豆子的本性不错，所以就得名了。
去年去参加的时候，连进去参赛的资格都没有，然后今年却突然哇！得奖了，而且是金牌的。
What's more, this gold medal coffee can even save lives.
他有没有越来越疲劳？
很明显是
吃不下饭了。
一下子睡，他就睡很久很久。我们甚至要叫他是要用摇晃的。
A hard-working mother on dialysis with a child with cancer is at the clinic today. Medical expenses have almost crushed them. Dai looks for social welfare organizations in hoping to reduce their burden. This patient is their daughter's classmate. When they raised money for them, they sold all their gold medal coffee for charity and realized the real value of gold medal coffee.
我对他们有一份情在，因为我是受帮助长大的小孩子，所以应该有能力的时候付出一点。
Dai was also a kid sponsored by World Vision. Those hard old days make his heart strong and more willing to help others. This doctor's good deeds moved many patients to also join his charity sale.
我以为我的咖啡大概就卖这样子，不会再有了。他就来就说，不是来看病的，然后他就拿钱过来，然后说，我要捐助这个小孩子。
This makes Zheng even busier, bringing her children and working day and night, processing and packing coffee without air conditioning. But there is a greater goal waiting for them, creating job opportunities for young people in the coffee industry.
我的当初想法，大家一起种啊，这样我的负担就不会我提供那个苗免费，我先做嘛，然后我都会，他们还没有成长的时候，我先帮忙。成长了以后再一起来竞争。
Dai established a coffee production and sales group recently. There are now over 10 young people.
这个苗自己培的，所以很有感情。像我这个没有做什么处理，就3年的苗，这个就可以去了。 要等我的咖啡班的学员来拿，而送他们去种。台湾咖啡其实不会输给外国咖啡，我们的风味不是只有纯而已，我们的那个水果香，我看也很少外国豆可以像我们这样子。
He isn't only proud of being a good doctor, but also planting good coffee, giving him a great sense of achievement.
享受看到大家好，然后大家肯跟我们聊天，在路上给满满的笑脸，那很好哎。
Two of Taiwan's top badminton players have advanced in the men's singles event at the BWF World Championships in Japan.
Nice.
Zhou Tiancheng and Wang Ziwei have made it to the third round. World number 4 Zhou defeated his Canadian opponent to advance to the top 16. Meanwhile, Wang beat out a Chinese competitor to match his best performance in the World Championships. The tournament runs through this Sunday. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. Finally, we leave you with images of international windsurfers showing their skills on Lake Silvaplana in Switzerland. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, please download the TaiwanPlus app. Stay safe and see you next time.